will start the second hour with your Portland Trailblazers.
Yes. Talk about Therapy Tuesday. I need some therapy after that game-winning shot didn't go in.
You can't out-tank the Utah Jazz.
No, they tried. They gave it an effort. The Jazz covered. They covered the number plus 4.5, baby. But
Keontae George just couldn't miss a three
until
the very end.
Not quite enough, unfortunately.
Veteran-led performance.
Gotta love those. Gotta love those this time of year when Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons team up for 30-plus points in the first half that build a double-digit lead, and Shaedon Sharpe plays 18 minutes. Gotta love those. Love those nights. Those are my favorite, especially this time of year. Oh, love them. Love every second of it.
Yeah, that was – I mean, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? Chauncey doesn't like him. I mean, you talk with your minutes, and he's not getting minutes.
He's not. He had a really bad run in the first half. He had a good run in the third quarter. He's playing less than 20 minutes a night. He's essentially Delano Banton in their mind.
What do you mean he had a bad run in the first half? He plays 8 minutes, and if he looks anything lazy, he doesn't play again.
No, he's out. He gets one shift in the first half.
6 minutes, and then you're not playing the rest of the half.
He was a minus 24 in 18 minutes.
He was a minus 24 in 18 minutes. Yes, he
good.
was. He's not. I'm not advocating that he's good.
What's your argument there? Don't play the 7th pick that you took 3 years ago?
I don't know.
You don't know if you play him when you're 25 and 33?
Would you rather him get 38 minutes a night or Jeremy Grant at this point?
True. You're just going to let him expose him out there and let him keep getting beat, and then
I'm fine with that. I just figure out what you need to have. And if this is I brought this up for 2 weeks. If it truly is that bad, you have to trade him.
I don't think
and I'm going to continue to argue that.
Yeah, they're not going to do that, though.
That's because they'd never do the right thing, but I will continue to argue that because the longer you let this thing drag out, if you're telling me that you cannot get through to him, that there's zero effort, that there's zero coaching, there's zero messaging, and it's going to be this ugly, where is that stock going to be in a year? There is at least a little bit of
a new coach, so I don't know.
Is there going to be a new coach?
Yeah, I think there will be.
Okay, you sure about that?
No.
Okay, just asking that question too.
You sure about that?
Because I'm just asking questions out loud at this point. I digress. If this is the direction that it's going, there's at least a little bit of value in saying 2 years ago this guy was a top 10 pick and a team out there saying we feel like we can get the best out of him. I've made this point many times on the show. We as Blazer fans have sold ourselves how many times? Well, the guy was a former lottery pick. Guy was a top 10. Well, we're bringing him in, but he was a top 10. We've done that as a fan base and as an organization. We've had a general manager sit up, mostly Neil O'Shea, who would say, well, this guy was a lottery pick. This guy, we're taking
that was when we would get a Shaedon Sharpe.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. There was a little bit of value there.
Or Nas Little. Hey, we took him because
this could have been a lottery pick.
Projected as a lottery
This guy could have been a lottery pick. Mario Hezonja was a lottery pick, and I got really excited watching him play preseason basketball.
I do remember those sell jobs.
Yes, those were sell jobs. So
I kind of miss that sometimes from our general manager.
You miss that guy?
I don't miss him, but I miss hey, man, this guy, he was something. It's like, yeah,
Zach
and the other team
Collins.
didn't want him.
It's my biggest frustration. The winning stuff, whatever. I've given up hope in that regard. Although last night, damn it, the Jazz gave me a glimmer of hope when they couldn't miss a three in the final minute of the game, and you're oh my God, are they really going to win this game?
That was a good Jazz performance. Usually that Blazer win ends up being 12.
Yes, it does. And the Jazz gave you a little bit of a buzzsaw there at the end. I continue to question what the overall. I'm not advocating that he's playing well. I'm not saying that he's engaged. I'm not saying that he plays his ass off every single night.
He may be a bad pick.
It's just a general question of this guy was the 7th overall pick in the draft. He's in his 3rd year in the NBA.
This was Joe's first pick, right?
Yes.
I think it was.
This was the first pick we were going to trade, and then didn't trade the pick because Shaedon Sharpe, if he was in the next draft, would have been a top 3 pick.
This was the OG Anunoby.
This was the OG Anunoby that this is when we were going to begin to go all in. That we didn't go all in. That was the start. That was the Shaedon Sharpe pick, and I'm just questioning what the long term If nothing is going to get through to him, what is the long-term plan, and can anything get through to him?
Well, I certainly understand. I guess I understand from the Chauncey angle of
he wants to have another head coaching job. I get what Chauncey's doing.
I think there's two schools of thought on this. Now, clearly the franchise is just letting Chauncey do what Chauncey wants to do. If that weren't the case,
we would be full-on tanking right now.
Yeah, I think that's
Jeremy Grant would have rolled an ankle in practice, and Anthony Simons would come down with pneumonia.
So to at least be fair to Joe Cronin, who did his trade deadline press conference after we made no moves, he said it wouldn't be fair to tell the guys not to try to go win and make the play-in.
And he has could be firm on that.
It's just a couple games, but so far he has stood firm on that. What's abundantly clear is Chauncey Now, he would probably disagree with me saying it this way, and I would understand why he would say have any problem with it. But as a player, he clearly is not liking Shaden Sharp.
No.
Now, does he think Shaden has potential and Shaden could mature and grow and be great? He'd probably say yeah to all of that. But you speak with your minutes, and 37, 25, 36, 38, 36, 30. That was 6 players on the Portland Trail Blazers, their minute distribution. Jabari played 14, and Shaden only had 4 more minutes than Jabari Walker.
Yes.
Who is a second-round project that I think is a free agent this summer, and I don't even know if he'll be back.
Likely won't be back.
So when you're talking about the 7th pick in the draft, what's clear is the coach, he's in a bit of the coach doghouse, but the franchise isn't, there's no changing there. So they're kind of in, I'm going to assume, in lockstep on this topic. And I just kind of have to wonder if this is what it's going to be the final 20 whatever games. What are they at right now? They're at 58. So what is that? The final 24 games? If this is what the final 24 games are, I venture to kind of wonder aloud. I don't think they're going to do it. I start to kind of go to your territory of like, well, if you don't believe in him, then
what are we holding on for then?
Throw him in as like a enticing move. Because here's the other thing.
Sell it. Hey, this guy's a top. He's just not quite fitting our culture. We got too many guards. Like, you can sell this to another team.
He very well could not be what we thought he would. Baby Kobe, it might be over for that.
R.I.P. Baby Kobe. Are we burying Baby Kobe today?
I didn't say that. Okay. Every time I have any criticism, Danny loves to go, but Baby Kobe. I'm like, this doesn't mean I've given up. But
Here comes the text from Danny Meringue. Not going to be happy. Baby Kobe.
But here is my point. I have gotten to, I told you guys this yesterday, because they're winning these games, you're putting yourself in the 9, 10, 11, 12 area of potential lottery sitting. Now, maybe you jump way higher. You jump to the top 5, the top 3, and if that's the case, some of this changes. But if you fall where you're projected to be exactly at right now, I'm reading some of these pre-draft mocks, and I'm reading about these players, and some of them I'm watching, and I'm just like, I don't know if that really changes your future. And I'm almost wondering, and I may have said this a couple of weeks ago, but I think it needs to be echoed again. They're at 25. I think they're going to beat the Wizards.
The Wizards are tanking. They're openly tanking, just like the Jazz are.
Might be the Nets. So there's 2 more wins. Now you're at 27 if you do that. And you know what I mean? Like, if you get to 30 to 31 wins and you put yourself at that 12 in the play-in, but like 10, 11 in the total standings, I think it's totally fair, as me and Swag were texting last night in our group chat. Do you just look around and you say, what team is going to kind of reset, blow it up? You think I'm joking, but you have
I know.
You have Tamani. You've got DA, who you're not going to be able to move. I don't think you're going to be able to move Jeremy's contract.
Now we go all in.
You've got Scoot growing. I'm just saying, like, do you pivot a little bit and say, well, we didn't do the draft thing that we all thought they were going to do.
In a generational draft.
I'm just asking questions out loud that I totally think are reasonable and logical, because I don't know what good value you get with the 10th pick in a draft.
Not a lot.
The history of that does not suggest you're going to get a franchise cornerstone.
No. Especially
when you read every mock that says the top 8 of these guys, the top 7, are the guys.
Yes.
After that, hey, that guy could be it.
Crapshoot.
That
roll
guy
the
could
dice.
be it.
And every pick's a roll of the dice. But even more so outside the top 7.
Con Knipple is not going to be the superstar that Tamani Kamara is waiting for. No. That's a role guy who might be a good player.
Very well could be a good player.
So there's a lot here for a not-so-great team, but a not-so-great team that keeps winning and ruining their lottery odds, but also in some ways building some kind of culture with some of the young players.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give you the positive for me last night. Donovan Clingan is still alive after playing 25 minutes. Love watching him play. He was not a lot offensively. That's fine. I'm
Second
not expecting
highest
that.
Plus minus.
He was terrific on the defensive end. He grabbed 13 rebounds. He had a couple offensive boards. I love watching Donovan Clingan play. And Scoot Henderson, for all the talk about benching and, how is he going to handle that role? I'm still incredibly frustrated that the guy who was a generational talent in his second year in the NBA, you're making come off the bench, but he has handled that role really well, and he continues to play.
Game last
he
night.
had a really nice game last night. I know there was a decent amount of turnovers and some turnover-worthy plays and all that. He's still young. He's 20 years old, and that's why you want him to play, so we can figure that stuff out. So credit to Scoot for the way that he's handled this new role and the way that he's continuing to play. And last night's game, I think, included something that I've never seen before, and that was one of Shaden Sharp's makes being basically an air ball that popped up through the hoop.
Oh, I may have missed
Did
that
you miss
one.
that?
I may have missed that
Yeah, I
one.
saw that.
He threw up like a little floater in the lane,
Uh-huh.
came up short.
And it
got
bounced up.
deflected
It hit off somebody's head,
and
went up through the hoop, and then back down
Yeah.
through the hoop, and the officials had to be like, well,
That didn't count.
No.
it was counted.
No, it wasn't. That was a violation.
You
Oh, it
just
was a
said
violation?
If it goes
Yeah.
under
Oh,
the
I
hoop,
thought it counted.
if it goes under the hoop and
Oh.
comes down, it doesn't count.
It's a whistle and a violation.
It comes under the hoop.
It comes up from underneath the hoop
Yeah.
and then back
Doesn't
down
count.
through the hoop. Why not count that?
It's a violation.
That doesn't count.
It should count. It went
That would
through
be
the hoop.
reverse basketball.
It should count. Why not? It's even more creative.
You thought that counted?
I thought it counted.
I missed
yeah.
it, so
I
I
missed
know.
it live.
I
I
saw
just
it.
saw it on social media, and
I
I was
saw
like,
it.
dude, did that
Yeah.
count? Are we counting that
No,
right
I
now?
saw it live.
This
No,
is
that's a
dumb. Why didn't we
violation.
count that? This is stupid.
Bad take dirt.
I think this is a good take. That
Went-
should count.
Went deep into the rule book for
That's
that
too
one.
circusy. You could just do reverse layups. Like
Who
you
would throw the
it
ball
up.
from underneath the hoop thinking it would go back in?
You don't need to throw it very hard to go up through the hoop to get it to come back
Clear
down
the rim,
through the
and
hoop.
it came back down
It's a
through.
little circusy.
It should count.
If you guys like, I might be a little off here.
If they make an all-in move this summer, you need to check my sanity.
So you'd rather them just sit at 10 and draft 10th?
I mean,
If that were to happen.
yeah.
Because we need to start. I know people say, "Oh, you're talking. Maybe they get sick." Okay, if they get a better pick, we'll
Then that's fine.
we'll pivot
Then
to that.
great if they.
But
you
if they
know,
sit where they're sitting, which
Dude.
history says they largely do, the Atlanta Hawks are not the norm. There's a lot of team with the worst record, even though there's 3 now with the same percentages, say that they're probably going to get the number 1, 2 pick. The Hawks are not the norm. So if they're at like 10, I don't think it's outlandish. I really don't, because I don't think you're going to get a superstar at 10.
I don't think you're wrong, but it would make me absolutely livid. Because you're not going to get a superstar in the
But
trade.
they've
So
already
when are
put-
you going to get the guy that you're going to build the team around?
I'm just saying, like, you've already kind of put yourself behind the 8 ball a little bit
Yeah,
on that.
which is why I've been livid all season long, and I will continue to be livid into the offseason because there's no long-term plan,
The funny thing would
which
be...
is why I'm frustrated. There is one rule in the NBA.
Well,
One rule.
that's not true.
You have to have a star to win.
Oh.
No, don't. You have to.
The Nuggets got to a West Finals when they traded Melo, didn't they?
Yeah. How'd that West Finals go?
Well, it didn't go in their favor.
Exactly. Similar. Okay. So
Pistons won a title.
how are you going to get the guy? When do you find the guy? Who are you building the team around?
We
Who's your
talked about him
star?
yesterday. It's 33.
Okay.
Number 33.
The guy who had, let me check my note, 8 points last night.
The funny thing about all of this is you could certainly make an argument on the other side that says, like, hey, vibes are good, culture's good. You're finally building something. You don't just suck.
That's fine. You're building something. You're not going to go anywhere until you get a star.
Well, but the funny part was you're building culture for a coach who may not be here.
Yes. Well, I think
Which
you're
that
trending in the
changes
direction
your
of him being
culture.
here. I think if they're continuing on this trend, they're going to bring him back next year.
You think most fans would want him back?
No, I don't. But I
Oh,
think
really?
he would be back.
I think he's swayed people. Put a poll question up on that.